So back at the beginning of '08, right after Christmas, about a year ago, I decided to go on the Ecuador missions trip for the summer of, well, the previous summer. And I was pretty excited. It was to Ecuador, Sardinas, Ecuador, and I'd been on 2 missions trips previous to that. I'd been on one to Mexico, and I'd been on another one to Ecuador, but just a different area. And I was just hyped. Like, I've had so many sweet experiences with missions trips that I couldn't wait, to be honest. But I knew that over the course of the next like 5 or 6 months, I was going to have to be raising money and writing letters, because going on missions trips in general is just like a huge process. I mean, it's an expensive thing, and you have to work for it. So I spent the better part of the first like 6 weeks of my summer mowing lawns and just doing odd jobs around the house and just doing anything I could to raise money to put towards this missions trip. And I ended up paying for about just over half of it on my own, which is huge. Like, I've never done that in the past before, and that's a lot of money. And then through generous donations of other people, through my letters, and basically just prayer in general, I was able to get the rest of the money in time, that by the time the missions trip came around about midsummer of, like I said, last summer, I was ready to go, which was sweet, because I just loved everybody that was going to be on the trip. There were some of you guys know the Brits from England. They're like the coolest kids. They were coming, and Kelsey and Cameron McCaslin and Stephanie and just tons of amazing people were going to be on this trip. So I was unbelievably hyped. But I had spent, like I said, so much time raising money that I was looking forward to an amazing trip. That's all there was to it. I didn't see it possibly going wrong. Well, the first blow came when I found out that I wasn't going to be traveling with the rest of the group. Me and my sister had kind of signed up for it a little late, and something happened with scheduling the tickets. They had to do it. They had to do it in 2 groups. So me, my sister, Susanna, and Jeremy McCaslin, and Dee Harwood and her friend we'd all be traveling separate in a group that was leaving earlier that morning. And we'd be arriving earlier in Sardinas after we took a layover in Houston, I think. So I was kind of bummed about that. I didn't want to have to travel separately. I really loved traveling with the group. It's just fun. It's an extra part of the trip. I mean, you're sitting in the same seats next to each other. Everybody's so excited, just playing games on the airplane and stuff. It's fun. But it wasn't a big deal, I kind of shrugged it off. I was just like, well, that's just the first thing, it's not even a big deal. We'll be there at the same time. We'll actually get there a little earlier. We'll have time to set up at our hotel that we're staying at for the first night. It'll be good. Well, we had to get to the airport by 4 in the morning, so we left. I was up by like 3, bright and early. Well, not even bright yet, unfortunately, just early. But regardless, I was up, my sister was up, we were at the airport. We had met up with the rest of our group. It was kind of expensive, actually. That was the first little thing that went wrong, aside from the traveling, was that we had to pay an extra like $50 out of our pockets to get our bags checked for whatever reason. So that was kind of a bummer. But again, it was just a minor thing. Missions trips have their problems, and we weren't really sketched out about it at all. So we got to the terminal okay, and we figured this is good, we're on time. We got on an airplane. We flew straight to Houston, and we were good. We got onto the Houston airport right around, it was just probably like 3, maybe 4 in the afternoon, so not late at all. And we had a layover there, which wasn't too bad. I mean, it wasn't great either, but it was only about like a 3-hour layover. So we hadn't planned for that, but we got some food. It was great. Like, we just got to talk and get to know everybody better. And we were thinking this was going to be good, but then we got on the next plane. We were supposed to be headed straight to Quito, Ecuador, which would have been great. I mean, that was the plan, but for some reason, about halfway through the flight, my sister kind of looked at me, and we'd both been kind of noticing it, but she's like, this plane, for some reason, smells like fireworks. Like, it's smoky in here. It's weird. I was like, yeah, it completely does. It smelled like something was burning, to be honest. Well, about 10, 20 minutes after she said that, the pilot came on the intercom thing, and he was like, Well, we're experiencing some minor difficulties with our engines. I don't think it's anything serious. We're going to proceed on to Quito as planned. And I said, okay, well, that's cool. Like, stuff happens. The plane's probably just got some issues. It's no big deal. He said it was fine. We're good. Well, about not even 20 minutes after that, he comes on again and he says, our left engine is blown and we're pretty sure it's on fire. He just said our airplane is on fire. Like, that is terrifying. Like, you know what it's like to fly. That is the last thing that you want to happen. So we're up flying over some foreign country. We have no clue where we are. It's pretty late at this point. It's dark by now because we had our layover. We didn't get on the plane until like 6 or 7. And we've been flying for 2 hours. It was dark. We didn't know where we were. And our plane was on fire. And people were freaking out. A lot of people were crying. My sister was crying. Me and Jeremy were sitting next to each other, and we didn't know what to think. We were praying and we just didn't know what to think. I mean, our airplane was literally on fire in the middle of the night. Well, the pilot decided that we needed to take an emergency landing in Honduras, which, I mean, that's good. We're landing, but we're still 3 hours away from our ultimate destination in the middle of the night when the Quito airport is already closed by the time we get to Honduras. So we're stuck in Honduras. Well, we land, and the Honduras fire department is following our plane, so that freaked people out more. There's 3 fire trucks just randomly right behind us, so that was scary. But we unloaded fine. We were in Honduras. We were on the ground. That was good. But then we go to this room, and it's like this cold, big white room with these uncomfortable metal chairs, which were like impossible to sleep on. I tried laying there for at least an hour in between like the bars of the chairs, and it was just like, it was uncomfortable. It was horrible. And I couldn't help but think, how is this going to be a good trip? You know, like by this point it was at least midnight, probably 1 in the morning. And we were in Honduras, wrong country, couldn't get into Quito until at least 6 in the morning because that's when the airport opened again. We were sketched out. We were nervous about the trip. Up until this point, I hadn't been too concerned, but right about then I started thinking, well, what if this trip goes poorly? What if I wasted the first 6 weeks of my summer, my time to relax? What if I wasted that? Like, what if I wasn't supposed to be mowing all those lawns? What if I could have been enjoying it? And now I'm going to waste all that money that I saved on some crappy trip. I was scared about that. Like, I didn't want that. So I talked to my sister about it, and we kind of just shrugged it off. We were both tired, and we just figured, you know, it can only get better. Like, this is a freak thing. It's not going to happen ever again. It's just unlucky, but it's going to get better. So a pilot showed up in Honduras to take us to Quito at like 5 in the morning so that we could get there by about 7. And that's what happened. We went straight there, and it was perfect. But once we were there, I got in to the terminal, and my bags weren't there, like, not at all. So that was awful. Like, another one of the things that you don't want when you travel. I mean, number 1, you don't want your airplane to catch on fire. Oh, that already happened. Number 2, you don't want your bags to get lost. Oh, that just happened to me too. So I was just freaking out about that too. And then we filed a claim, said my bags are like this. I gave them my number and said, please, if you find them, send them to such and such a hotel, wherever we were staying. That was all we could do. It was entirely not in my hands now.